A well-behaved woman is trim and proper. Chores, always done. Not a hair out of place. When the husband comes home, she greets him with a smile.
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
Are you tired of Hitler?
Have you no shame?
Okay, one liar as a kid can find another liar.
I want that stricken from the record.
How else is she gonna learn if she doesn't have a feather?
I can go fuck in the big house.
You're a mess, girl.
I am here to audition for Babysitters Club extras.
I brought my own hammer.
Well, welcome.
Welcome
To
another episode
It is...
of Well-Behaved Women. Sorry.
that's the show.
I thought you were going to...
It is the show.
I thought you were going to finish my sentence.
No,
Never
I'm
mind.
not. I'm not good at that.
I'm all on my own.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah,
all
bitch.
by myself.
You're all by yourself.
You gotta be.
All by yourself. All right, that's it.
There it is.
You got your song. Your musical duo
We're
is...
having a musical series. Apparently Belle just
Well,
brings out the
she's
most
rough.
musical of us.
She's rugged, if you will. She's
got
got
a little rugged for sure.
She's kind of murdery, and I feel like the songs kind of help. I need to sing my way through this one. And I feel so bad for all these men.
Yep.
That she's just like putting a one ad out like a fucking, like one of those angler fish that has like the little light in front of it in the deep, dark ocean. And it just pew, pew. And it just it invites all these poor little fish in, and then
Into
she gets
their
them.
inevitable doom.
Yeah, she's the angler fish of
Norwegian Americans.
just this time period.
Mm-hmm.
She's an angler fish, just out there in the deep Indiana Ocean. They're in Indiana still, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I got that right. So yes, we are back with Bella Paul's daughter? No, Bella Peterson.
She started as Brunhild
Yes.
Paul's daughter Storseth. When she moved to the U.S., she started going by Bella Peterson.
It was time for a rebrand.
And then she got married
Yeah.
to Peter Gunnis. And
That's
she
right.
started going
Now
by
she's
Belle
Gunnis.
Gunnis.
Gunnis, okay.
Yep.
No relation to Guinness, right?
No relation
I didn't
to
think
Guinness.
so.
All right. So, on this year,
On this year in history.
the Ecuador-Colombia earthquake and associated tsunami causes at least 500 deaths.
Okay. That's a lot. Wow.
In France, the Romanian inventor Traian Vuia becomes the first person to achieve an unassisted takeoff in heavier-than-air-powered monoplane, but it is incapable of sustained flight.
So he is like basically a glider.
Kind of,
Oh,
yeah.
that sucks. Okay. All right. Let me think.
The first inmates are moved to the Culion leper colony by the American Insular Government of the Philippine Islands.
That sounds scary.
It's terrifying. An island
Poor
of
people.
Of people that are just have the same
Oh.
disease.
But they're all just getting like pushed away from society. Oh.
Yes, they're all exiled for what
That
they have.
sucks.
Yes, it
Okay.
fucking sucks.
Well, since I'm gonna guess tentatively we're at 1897.
And the first Imperial German Navy submarine U-1 is launched.
I stand at 1897.
Okay. You get it by default because you went under. It's we're sitting at 1906.
I was gonna go 1901 or like 1902, but I thought, oh shoot, last time I went over.
Now, when last we left Belle,
Previously on Belle is a Bitch.
yeah, literally, previously on. So Belle Gunnis is a big girl.
Big bitch.
And she has lost a number of husbands and suitors to murder by her own hand. She's a
Big black widow.
big murdering bitch. And one person has escaped her so far. Basically, she scurried away when he woke up and she was staring at him.
He's like the only, I mean, he had some real survivor instincts in that moment.
Yep.
Passed out in the middle of sleep. Something woke him up and it was just her staring.
Right.
With a candle.
Yep.
Candlelight stare in the middle of the night. No, thank you.
She's got these ads out that are for triflers need not apply.
She's
Only serious
yeah.
inquiries for marriage, and bring your fortunes to combine with mine.
Combine my treasure with your treasure. You go bye-bye, it's my treasure.
Exactly. That's exactly
This
it.
is the plan, but she's not saying it in so few words.
No. You gotta lure them in.
You basically read between the lines.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
So she could lift wooden trunks like a box of marshmallows.
She could lift
and
a piano.
Meanwhile, men showed up one by one at her door and
Yep.
vanished without a trace.
They want to combine fortunes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they did. At any given time, no one was really sure if she had a gentleman staying over, as they apparently stayed in her room.
Well, I mean, they went in, but they never came out.
Well, and they were monitored by Belle herself.
So creepy. She's just following you around the house. Just standing outside your door, like...
Well, she's using her opportune moments. So she's like, she's very welcoming openly, but like she's
makes
waiting
it dinner.
until, either they're drunk or they're having a coffee or whatever. She slips something in. It helps them kind of relax and go to sleep.
helps them relax.
Yeah, she doesn't want them alive, or she doesn't want them awake when she's killing them. She's
doesn't
either
want them
drugging
alive
them
either.
to a stupor before she kills them or chloroforming them to death. So it seems like that's not a thing that she wants to see. She doesn't
Yeah.
actually like the light going out of someone's eyes.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also like maybe she thought, well, yeah, I'm a big woman. I have muscles. I can hold my own. But they also are men. They could be an even match. And maybe she's just like, this is certainly...
I don't want to fight. And this is not about it's not about the power and it's not about the killing. It's about their fortune. And then literally they are
getting away
just
with
things
it.
to be disposed of.
Ooh, and then
so
nobody
she's
can
just
hear them
gotta
scream.
get rid of them. She gets rid of so many pigs. All right. So they were all carefully monitored by Belle. She always introduced the newcomers, who the locals said showed up every week or so, as her various cousins.
What a big-ass family of all men she must
God,
have.
it's such a weird thing. Oh, that's my cousin too. And that's also my cousin.
There are so many people of Norwegian descent that are going to be so upset.
Literally, these ads were taken out in like only Norwegian languages.
Yeah, she knew... I think she knew enough about like the situation that her fellow immigrants were in, trying to stay in the U.S., like you said previously.
That was it. Yeah, they wanted a marriage inside
She knew
the US.
that they were desperate.
Yes, and they were lonely, and they, they had money, and they just wanted someone to love, and they wanted someone to take care of.
Oh.
So she would introduce them as her cousins, and then she would keep them at kind of a fair, good arm's length from like her kids, both physically and emotionally. Like, just don't pay attention to that.
She doesn't want them asking questions.
Yes.
Especially after one of the kids already ratted her out for like hitting somebody's dad over the head with a meat cleaver.
My mama killed my papa with a meat cleaver.
Girl. She just like straight up called you out.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if anything ever happened after that.
Yeah, they sent her away to Chicago.
But I meant to Belle.
Oh, no,
Like,
not to
they
Belle.
didn't take the girl seriously. They just said that she was just making shit up. They were
No,
like,
Belle was very convincing when they were asking her what was going on.
that's
She was
right.
just
The
so
charming.
devastated, and there was no way on earth that she could do any of that.
she's in shock.
Exactly.
The little girl's in shock. We're going to send her to Chicago to be with the other shocked people.
Exactly. The employees knew what she was doing, at least to some extent, and some knew what she was doing to all of the extent.
Uh-huh.
There was one farmhand in particular who was smitten as hell,
Oh, yeah.
a young man named Ray Lamphere.
Oh, yeah. Somebody actually saw something in her they liked?
A little
Like,
bit.
knowing what she does? Or does he know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this guy knows and
Yeah.
still decides to go, she's the one.
A lot of what we know, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but a lot of what we know about how this shit went down is from his deathbed confession.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, juicy. Okay.
Spoiler, sorry.
No, but like, sorry, yeah, I
that's
kind of
where we're
pulled
going
that
with
spoiler,
this.
but this is interesting. Okay.
So, they've been fucking
Who's this man's name? I don't know.
Ray Lamphere.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we said his name. Ray
think-
Lamphere.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray.
I'm backing up a little bit if the other part of this made it on
yeah.
air.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say from part one, I'm
refresher.
might have been a refresher, but they were fucking. And for a while, he knew that there were men coming, and not going. And, none of that was serious. It was just, her business,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. That was her job.
They
but
came,
this
they
was
died,
real.
she buried him, it was a thing, it was whatever. But he was the one that got to spend time with her. Like,
Right.
good quality time. Really get to know her. Know your soul.
Okay. Does she have one? We don't know.
When the suitors came a-calling, it was like clockwork.
Okay.
Belle would cook them a very large, welcoming, home-cooked meal.
It's just interesting.
Something men really, really wanted after a long time on the road and being
Right.
lonely.
And is this after they've already given her everything?
No, so
Okay, so she still needs to be nice and welcoming and
yeah.
okay,
This
to
is
get-
they're coming to visit her for the first time with the hopes that they get along. They can come and inspect the farm. They can make sure that everything is
Yeah.
legit. They can meet the family, make sure that
Okay, so
everything is
this-
copacetic. And then, if things go well, they bring that check with them, ready to hand it over and be like, "Okay, we'll just get married and I'll live on the farm with you."
Okay, so she just has to sweeten them up first.
Basically, yes.
All
And,
right.
and the idea is that they come down there with their fortunes ready to get married.
Okay, because I'm thinking it's a lot of hard work to make a big meal. So I'm just thinking she's putting so much effort into somebody she's going to kill.
Well, she also fed the kids, so it would there was also
I
there were
forget
other
it-
people that she had to feed.
Much like Belle, forgot about the kids, kind of. I also
There's 3 of them at this point.
forgot about that. That's
One
right.
of them's like a baby, like 3 years old. He's teeny tiny.
Yeah. He's made it, though. He's not dead yet.
So she'd get him good and fed, and maybe gives him some wine.
Yeah.
Give him some coffee, whatever, and
Little something.
then they'd slip a little something, something, in
Little
their
something,
drink.
something.
And then conk out like a light with a meat grinder.
With a meat grinder.
With a meat grinder.
Well, like a skillet to the head. So just clunk down and, okay, gonna drag you up to bed. But not really.
Yes. Literally.
Yeah.
Just like,
We're
right.
going, I'll take care of it. Kids, why don't you go upstairs? He just had a little something, a little too much.
A little too much to drink. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
And
Okay.
she's like
Don't worry,
the
he's
same
just
height
snoring.
as him, so she can just toss these fuckers over her shoulder. She's tossing hogs all day long. I'm sure
Yeah.
she can hoist an unconscious Norwegian
No, she's
man.
potato sacking him over the shoulder.
Exactly.
It's
Fireman carry, yeah.
Fireman carry. I forget why I always called it potato sacking.
Because that's how you haul a sack of potatoes,
Absolutely, that's how I would do it. When I had that, just that 5-pound bag, I put that on my shoulder at the grocery store.
too. Big tough girl.
Me,
So strong.
so strong. Me, so strong
You're so strong.
in my mind.
Ole Boodsberg.
Oh yeah, Olay. I forgot about him.
Yes. Oh yeah, we've done this already. I went too far back. Sorry.
That's okay. Olay.
Ole Boodsberg.
What a weird. I guess I've never heard Olay as a
It's-
first name. I only know it as a face cream
It's
company.
OLE.
Oh.
Or Ollie or Ole.
I like Olay.
Ole Budsberg. He showed up in the spring of 1907. And when he got to LaPorte and he went to the bank in April, he mortgaged his home back Wisconsin way, right? And as a result, he was able to take out several $1,000s in cash.
Oh, bud, don't flash that cash.
Bendy.
Please don't. Oli, boy.
Only. He hadn't told anyone that he was coming.
Okay.
He just went and
Surprise!
he traded his Wisconsin home for some Norwegian wifin'.
Okay.
A few weeks later, Ole's kids started to wonder just where the fuck he'd gone off to. And it didn't take them long to put the pieces together. He'd popped off to LaPorte.
Popped right off.
Popped him right the fuck off. I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
well now I'm getting confused. Did he die or
No,
did he go somewhere?
No, they figured out that he went to LaPorte. He
Okay,
went
so
to
they
go
figured
be
out
with
they
Belle.
went to this lady's
Yes.
place.
So they wrote to Belle and they asked about Ole, and she said that she'd never met the man.
Uh-huh.
So they moved on with their lives.
Yeah, I hate that they're just like, oh well, that's it. We'll never hear from him again.
Apparently that just happened.
Which is just weird.
You know, people just disappeared and then they were gone.
Yeah,
like
but
forever.
I guess, but I mean, like, it's just to be like, yeah, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot live with that.
Yep, it will forever be a mystery.
Can't do that.
Now, Ray Lamphere, he is starting to catch feelings, like in a big way, right? These stupid men who answered her want ads, they weren't really in love with her. They just wanted fortunes, right? And she didn't love them. That was all just business. She kept Ray around. Ray, that's the man she cares about. Ray Lamphere. But those want ads were still out, and Belle was pretty diligent about her correspondence with her numerous suitors.
All right. She needs to make money in her mind.
Of course,
Yeah.
gotta make that paper. Make that paper. Nothing.
Okay. I do not know where that came from.
Parks and Rec.
Oh.
At other instances with these men, Belle would wait until they were sleeping already, come into their rooms by candlelight, and chloroform them.
Oh, okay. I don't like being in a room with a sleeping person. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, God, I don't want to wake you up.
Even when I'm in the same bed as them and I'm like not asleep yet, and
I'm
they
not asleep, I
clearly
feel
are.
guilty.
Exactly. So once they were dead, Belle would drag the bodies to the basement. There she would dissect them, taking the arms off at the shoulders. Oh, trigger warning, this is going to get rough from here on out.
Well, like dissect or...
Dissect. Like the kappa was detated from their heads.
No, that part...
The arms were detated from the shoulders.
No, I know. That... I don't know.
She'd chop them up.
No, I know that. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not... There's a different word. I can't think of it.
Butcher?
No. It starts with a D, but it's not... You could take this all out because I'm like just... My brain's farting over here real loud.
You said not dissect?
It's not dissect because it's a different D word for taking all the body parts apart, and I cannot remember what the name of it is, what the word is. But it doesn't matter. Keep going.
Debone?
No, it doesn't matter. We just heard my brain fart live. Go ahead. I don't know what it is.
You're going to think of that word in like 15 minutes, and it's going to scream back at you, and you're going to be like...
it's going to be like 2 a.m. Because I did this the other day with a different thing where I could not remember an actor's name, and it hit me 3 days later where I was like, oh my God! And now I can't remember.
Been there.
Yeah, now I don't know who it was. Oh, no.
And now it's going to bug you now.
No. I'll let this one go.
So
Much like Ole's family let him go.
Ole's family let him go
sorry,
forever.
Ole.
His kappa was detated from his head.
Uh-huh.
The arms were taken off of his shoulders.
Oof.
The legs were cut at the knees. Sometimes she put the torsos... Yeah, at the knees, because they're just bigger.
Okay.
Sometimes she put them in the hog scalding vats, which is like, I guess, where they go to...
Incinerate?
Boil the skin
Oh,
before
boil. Scald. Duh.
they cook.
Water.
I guess so.
Okay.
Other times she chopped them up and she fed them to the hogs.
I just do not like the fact that pigs
They well-fed.
eat anything.
Well-fed hogs.
What is that from?
Nothing. I made
Oh,
that
you're just
up.
making a voice. Okay, sorry. I thought it was a reference, and I'm like, I am so out of the loop. Whoops.
So when she didn't feed them to the pigs or destroy them, she bundled up and buried little pieces throughout the farm.
Just sprinkle little bits.
No,
and pieces?
she would,
or like bury 'em.
whatever she couldn't feed to the hogs or boil, she would just bundle them up in little sacks and put them in the ground.
Okay, so yeah, like dig a little hole.
Yep.
There's the holes. Oh my God.
Oh, we're putting pieces together.
There's a neuron firing right there.
She'd scatter quicklime over the bodies, and it would help with decomposition for odor control.
And sawdust, apparently.
Yeah.
Willie Picton. Anyway.
In December 1907, Belle received a letter from one Andrew Helgelian.
Helgelian.
Over the next month, the two wrote back and forth. Andrew was initially hesitant to drop his entire life for this woman.
Yeah. Somebody's got a brain.
So Andrew's hesitant, but she said no one compared to him. He should take all the money out of his bank and make haste to her side.
Oh, red flag, red flag, red flag. Whatever your name is, sir.
Andrew.
Andrew.
He was still pretty cautious, and so he didn't come. He was in a different state. He was just writing to this woman who wanted him to come live with her forever. That's a little weird.
It is so weird. Like, maybe it's just because we're at a different time where, I don't know, like, even though we have instant messaging and like texting, and nobody has instant messages anymore, but like chats and things like that, it's all boom, boom, boom. But like, if you've been talking to someone for a month of letter writing and they're coming out to visit, it's like, you know, they're kind of their one shot, so you might as well bring it all, maybe? That's
kind of, yeah.
Okay, I'm like, it's just, to me, red flag, red flag.
She wrote about how terrifying robberies were, and they were more common than ever before, and he'd be much safer with her.
Fear-mongering.
And in her final letter...
Uh-oh, here we go.
To the dearest friend in the world, no woman in the world is happier than I am. I know that you are now to come to me and be my own. I can tell from your letters that you are the man that I want. It does not take one long to tell when to like a person, and you I like better than anyone in the world I know. Think how we will enjoy each other's company. You, the sweetest man in the whole world. We will be all alone with each other. Can you conceive of anything nicer? I think of you constantly. When I hear your name mentioned, and this is when one of the dear children speaks of you, or I hear myself humming it with the words of an old love song, it is beautiful music to my ears. My heart beats in wild rapture for you. My Andrew, I love you. Come prepared to stay forever.
Love bombing. I'm determined to save this man, even though it's all in the past and I can do absolutely nothing.
Nah, man, that was hot.
I mean,
she wanted him.
I will say, it is a very nice letter. I would be very flattered to get a letter like that.
If she wasn't a murdering psychopath, that'd probably be pretty sweet.
Maybe it's because I know a little too much about her.
Right, exactly.
I have confirmation bias.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss, indeed. Mm-hmm. But for Andrew, it was just hot. Super hot. Really hot. Like, oh, yeah. Okay, so he makes up his mind. He's like, okay, I'm going to go down just for a visit. And then he tells his brother Azel, he's like, hey, I'll be back in a few weeks.
Smart. Thank you for saying something, Andrew.
I'm going to go.
He had plans to return.
I'm not going to tell you where I'm going to go, but I'll be back. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
So he gets down there, and he and Belle are just two peas, you know? They're
eating that
so
lovely
well.
dinner.
Mm-hmm.
She makes the dinner.
And what was more, Andrew showed up with a check for $2,900.
Holy fuck. Is that the most she's gotten from someone?
No.
No, not yet. Okay. But still a pretty good hefty sum. She was getting people for only $1,000 back then.
And God, ain't nothing sexier than a sugar daddy back then, you know?
I mean, sometimes even now.
They're doing their carriage rides, and then the they doing the fucking.
No. Let's keep calling it. They're doing the They got to.
But with Andrew,
yeah, they got intimate.
Andrew, for some reason, Ray got upset.
Well, yeah, because she's not slept with any of them.
Well,
she's just murdered them.
No, they've been sleeping. She's been sleeping with them, yeah.
Oh, I guess I just kind of assumed they ate dinner. She knocks them out.
Sometimes it was that quick, but then other times she probably fucked him a little bit. I don't
probably
know.
Liked them a little bit.
Meanwhile, he's getting upset, and quote, Lamphere was so jealous, he made a hole in the floor to eavesdrop on their conversation.
No.
He was convinced they would plan to kill him. He told one of his friends that if he died, an autopsy should take place. This would show, he claimed, that Gunnis had poisoned him. End quote.
Okay, wait. Who let the big secret out?
Ray is worried that Gunnis and her new man, Andrew Helgellian,
are going to kill him.
Are going to kill Ray.
Okay.
And Ray is telling his buddy.
He's getting super paranoid with
jealousy.
jealousy.
He's like, hey, just in case I turn up dead one day, by the way, it's Belle.
You never piss off the person who knows most about you.
Make sure there's an autopsy done.
And Ray told that to who? Just his friends? Random
a neighbor.
Friends. Okay, a neighbor.
Ray had been living at the Gunnis farm for a while.
Still cannot believe he just like fucking drilled a hole to listen into the... Oh. All right, but he's been living there.
It wasn't clear enough before, you know?
Yeah, I guess not.
All right, Ray had been living at the Gunnis farm at the time, and Belle was pissed about the fact that Ray was getting jealous.
Yeah.
She fired him, she evicted him, and she attempted to collect money from him. through something called a peace bond.
Oh, what?
That's where if you were threatened by another person, you can collect money from them. She also called him insane and began a smear campaign against him so that no one would believe a word that he said.
Yeah, she's got to cover her tracks in case he starts talking.
They had a sanity hearing for poor old Ray.
Oh, what?
But he was declared sane and he was released the same day.
Why would they call a sanity hearing on him?
Not the same day, but he was released a couple days later. Because she called him insane, and they were like, okay, well, let's prove that he's insane. And he was able to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm fine.
I guess it's just like, just because she says he's insane, now they have to prove it?
Yes.
Oh, because she's trying to get money from him, and
Yes.
he's taking it to court?
Yes. And basically, like, she was the property owner, he was a renter, and it was a whole thing, basically.
I see.
She acted like he was the crazy one.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what an abuser will do, and a murderer, and a liar.
So he was released, and then a few days later, he was back at the farm. He was upset, and he was arguing with Belle once again. And this time, she had him arrested for trespassing.
Oh.
So a few days following this whole sordid ordeal, Belle showed up at the Laporte Bank to deposit a $1,200 check.
Oh. Some more hefty deposits, Miss Belle.
No one ever saw Andrew Helgellian again.
Of course not. You tried, I keep wanting to call him Henry. It's Andrew Helgellian. That's why I keep wanting to say, oh, he was so close. He was trying to, make a life for himself and make a family. Nope.
Yeah. All he wanted was a family.
And he even told his brother he was doing the right things. Like, does his brother come looking for him?
Ray showed up to the farm over and over and over again.
Ouch, dude. Let it go now.
Belle would send him away, argue with him, and say he was dangerous.
You are literally shortening your lifespan every time you go back to that farm.
Once, Ray confided in a buddy of his. Quote, Helgellian won't bother me no more. We fixed him for keeps.
Oh. He's letting out the secret.
But people cared about Andrew. So when he didn't come home or write like he said he would, his brother Azel started asking questions.
Damn straight. Good thing he told his brother he would be back.
And he was asking crazy questions like, where is my brother? Why didn't he come home when he said he would? Where's the crazy lady that was supposed to be, who is she? Andrew had also written a check to the bank, Azel had also written a letter to the bank knowing that Andrew had taken a giant check with him. Belle was fairly annoyed by all this.
Oh, I'm sure. Cuts into her plans.
Yeah, she initially wrote back he'd probably gone off to visit family in Norway. Azel thought that would be even weirder, so he wrote back that made no sense.
Yeah,
he was likely still there in Laporte.
He would definitely tell someone if he's going to Norway.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm not coming back to my hometown
for like 6 months.
This nowhere town in Indiana. I'm just going to go on to Norway and not say anything to anyone.
To my brother, to my neighbors, family, friends.
So Azel said, he's probably still in Laporte, and if it's just fine with Belle, Azel's going to just come on down and have a look-see himself. The bank, for their part, they did confirm that he'd been around, but they hadn't seen him in some time.
Yeah.
This wasn't exactly in Belle's 5-year plan. Mm-hmm. And there were a few things about her farm that she wasn't quite ready for outsiders to see.
Yeah, I would say the basement would be one of them.
Yeah. But if Azel insisted on visiting, Belle wrote back she'd help look for Andrew, but she expected to be compensated for her time and efforts.
Of course. She wants to get the money. She's going to make him a big meal.
Yeah, if you pay me, I'll help you look for him.
Do you like turkey?
She also took out a want ad in the paper and sent for an applicant for a housekeeper.
Interesting. A difference. A change.
A woman from Chicago came in at her request, and Belle hired her on.
Interesting. She hasn't hired a woman in here before. Yeah. Is it because of Ray?
No.
Okay.
Ray's not. Well, Ray had been scaring Belle.
Yeah.
So she decided she was going to go get a will and testament.
Okay.
As well.
But Ray's not still on the farm.
Ray's not still on the farm. No.
But he helped take out Andrew.
Comes back every so often to argue with her, but then he gets sent away and it's done.
But he was part of Andrew's murder?
He knew that Andrew was murdered. I don't know if he actually helped murder
I
him.
see. I guess I assumed so because he said we took care of him.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm sorry for all the questions. Thank you for
Nope,
being patient with me.
Those are valid questions.
I appreciate it.
And since Ray had been scaring Belle, she got her will and testament, she spoke with a lawyer, and she explained it was because Ray had threatened her, and she wanted to have everything in order for her children in case Ray went through with his threats.
Poor, frail, 200 pounds of muscle Belle.
I know.
Threatened.
But apparently he was going to kill her and burn her house down.
And she's already been through those she's not been murdered yet, but she has had buildings burned down on her.
That happened in Chicago. That's a whole different state. You know, they don't know about that. So her will stated that in the event of her death, Belle's farm and all of her assets would go to her children.
Of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah. She never told the police about any of these things. She also hired a new farmhand. Now that Ray was out of the picture, she needed more help.
Yeah.
So she brought in a kid named Joe Maxon.
Joe Maxon.
Joe Maxon. He moved into Ray's old quarters and he learned the farm.
Wait, so has she gotten a housekeeper yet?
Yeah, the housekeeper's there too. Mhm.
Okay, so she's arrived too. So now she's got a new housekeeper and a new farmhand named Joe Maxon.
On the morning of April 28th, 1908, Joe awoke to smoke filling his room.
Oh, shit.
The Gunnis home was on fire, and I mean really, really on fire.
Uh-huh.
Joe tried to wake Belle and the children, but he couldn't find them.
Huh.
He decided the best chance for them was to take off and go get the fire department to come help.
Right.
Still in his underwear, Joe jumped out a second-story window, almost as flames were licking at the window.
Fuck.
Think that, like, jump that Robin Hood makes in, like, the Disney Robin Hood,
This is like a desperate
Exactly.
jump.
But there's only so much they can do, so he runs to the fire department, and there's like, it's too big, we just gotta let it burn.
Yeah, at this point, it'd be like more risky.
Yeah, the whole house was engulfed in flames, so people just kind of had to stand around and wait for it to be over.
Yeah.
When the fire died down and the home was safe to enter again, the townspeople looked through the whole thing for the sign of Belle or her children. Mm-hmm. In the basement, they found the bodies of 3 children and 1 adult female who was missing a head.
Huh.
Authorities saw these bodies and figured, well, obviously, that's Belle and her kids. Mm-hmm. It's weird that she doesn't have a head, but whatever.
Yeah, how did that happen in the fire?
The sheriff on site was County Sheriff Albert Smootser, who...
Smootser, excuse me.
Who immediately figured this was no accident. This was murder and arson.
Yeah, the decapitation kind of tells you it is, in fact.
A murder.
A murder.
A muck duck.
A muck duck?
Sorry. It's from The Office.
Oh, okay.
He directed 2 of his men to dig through the debris from the home looking for Belle's missing head.
Uh-huh.
He directed 2 others to go on over to old Ray Lamphere's home and bring him in for questioning.
Oh, shit.
Because everyone knew Ray had been threatening her.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
And when questioned, Ray insisted he had nothing to do with the fire, and he wasn't even near the farm when it happened. He also said that the body wasn't Belle's, that woman who died was another victim of Belle, and that Belle was actually off somewhere. And he also said he knew why. Ray said that one of Belle's suitors had a brother poking his nose round, and that he was probably going to come through town and have a look about any day now. And Belle took off because she didn't want to deal with all that, and she had the money to disappear.
Oh. Now I know why she hired a maid.
But some little shit local boy, he said he actually saw Ray at the farm right before the fire.
Interesting.
So they arrested him, despite his protests of innocence. And the bodies of the wife and children were buried in the grave next to Mads Sorensen, way back from episode 1.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
So all those remains were taken back to Illinois to do so.
Who's he buried next to?
There was little consensus about the headless corpse. Belle's neighbors seemed to corroborate the doubt about the body being Belle's because the body they found was from someone that was about 5'3" and 125 pounds.
Yeah.
Belle was notoriously large and hefty.
Rugged.
But others were not so convinced, and in fact, the local dentist said that he could help prove that was indeed Belle's body. So they searched along the charred remains and found a piece of a dental bridge. And the dentist said, yes, of course, that dental bridge is from Belle's mouth. And so the coroner said, officially, this is Belle Gunnis's body. And so she's dead.
Well, she didn't just shrink.
So they bury her.
She just looks at me like, I don't know what to tell you.
Tell you.
I don't know.
Then Azel shows up.
What does he know?
Azel shows up and he's like, hey, Sheriff, this might be really bad timing. I'm kind of seeing the charred remains of some weird farm right here, but I'm looking for my disappeared brother, and he was last seen right here. Now, the sheriff and his people are sifting through the rubble, and they've been starting to notice some things. They've found a bunch of random teeth, some trunks,
Oh,
like
God.
8 men's pocket watches for no fucking reason.
Oh, score.
And then Joe Maxon, the farmhand, he comes forward with a piece of information that he'd held back because he didn't really think it mattered at the time.
Side note.
What's up?
As soon as you said like 8 pocket watches, I'm like, score. Because like Red Dead 2, you get like a
Pocket
lot
watches.
of pocket in Red Dead. You get a lot of pocket watches,
Nice.
and you can make money off that. And I'm
That's
just sitting here
cute.
going, loot the body.
Loot the body.
Because that's what I do in Red Dead all the time. Loot, loot, loot. I'm telling you, I'm going to make you play this game with
Video
me.
game brain, I love it.
Thank you. I'm like, X, loot. Click X. I want pocket watches. All right, go ahead. So they found teeth.
I did
Terrifying.
tell you, like I played through Resident Evil.
Yeah.
About a year ago.
I'm
like,
telling you,
before I restarted the show.
Oh,
but
hell yeah.
was fun.
I think Red Dead would be, you'd enjoy it.
I had to
'cause-
get Gary to do the shark scene for me because I couldn't get past the sharks.
in what?
Resident Evil.
Oh, I've never played Resident
Oh,
Evil.
it's really good. But
I've
the,
watched
the
people play.
2003 release or 2002 or whatever, they have this scene where there's sharks that you got to get past. And
Oh.
literally, I had to like beg Gary, please do this for me.
Yeah, every
Please."
once in a while I've had somebody do that for me. But when it came to Red Dead, I was like, no, I'm determined to be a badass who can do this myself.
Oh, when he first got it, he played for like 5 hours straight. He was like, the visuals on this are just incredible.
It's a movie in Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a stunning, and like they got so into the weeds with like making it realistic. And speaking of into the weeds, we'll get back to this in a
You're
minute.
fine.
But they made the horse testicles shrink in cold water. That was coded into the game.
How do you even find that out as a piece of information when you're playing the game?
I don't know, but somebody
How
wrote an
the
article, and that's how I found out. It was like before the game came out. It was like
What
a
on
news
earth
feature.
do you even have to be doing in order to ever see that feature of the game?
Well, you're always behind the person on the horse, typically. You can literally angle the camera however you want.
You can just watch
So it's some
right
immature
up,
kid.
You can just watch straight up horse ass.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure you could find a way to do that.
interesting.
But yeah, anyway.
And then Joe comes forward with a piece of information he'd held back because he didn't really think it mattered at the time. But he said that a few weeks back, Belle had asked him for a bunch of wheelbarrows of dirt at the hog pen. She just wanted to bury some rubbish, he said. Locals then piped up and said they'd seen her more than a handful of times out digging in that pen in the middle of the night. So Sheriff Smutzer and his people started to kind of walk that actual Gunnis farm. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't long before they found their first depression of soil. That's kind of weird. Like, it's a little softer right here. What's going on? Let's see what's under there. So they dug just a little bit, and they found this little bundle tied up. So they untie the bundle, and inside they found 2 hands, 2 feet, and 1 head. And in a moment worthy of a horror movie, Azel looked down at this collection of extremities and recognized instantly the face of his brother staring back at him.
Oh, that's unfortunate, my dude, but we knew it was coming.
Yeah. And in that same little area, there were 3 other bundles.
Yeah.
Quote, torsos and hands, arms hacked from the shoulders down, masses of human bone wrapped in loose flesh that dripped like jelly.
Ew, you gotta say it like jelly.
Literally, that's the quote, is dripped like jelly.
That gave me a very vivid
It's because of the way it
recollection.
breaks down, yeah.
It glooped.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what I think is you pick it up and it kind of...
Yeah. Splat. Oh, that's rough.
And in another movie moment, the realization hits them as they look up and out at the farm and realize there are dozens of these depressions in the soil all over this place.
Sadly, digging up them holes, digging.
Digging up them holes.
Digging.
Sorry. The saddest I've ever seen you look.
I know. I had like the puppy dog sad pout. It's just, I'm so sad about like how many, they're like seeing this one depression. Then they see, oh my God, it's heads and hands, and there's 3 more in this hole. Then they look
then
around.
there's way more.
And there's like, I
I've
imagine
lost
it
count.
very much a horror movie scene.
She disposed of the bodies the same way each time.
MO, baby. They stick to the MO.
Yeah, it's a process. And I mean, we mentioned Willie Picton.
Yeah.
He was a man of process because he butchered them exactly like he butchered his hogs.
He did.
She
Yeah,
she
he was-
did the same fucking
yeah.
thing. First she decapitated them, then the arms came off from the shoulders, the legs from the knees.
It's a routine.
Each of the skulls were found to have had some level of traumatic injury, gash, you know, crushing, whatever. The long bones had been crushed on the ends as though they had been struck with hammers after they were dismembered. And that quicklime had been scattered.
Dismemberment.
Dismemberment. Was that the word?
That's the word.
Hey, give me that. Give me.
Yeah,
There
okay.
you go.
That's why I was
You
like
deserve
dissected.
that.
No, that was the word I was thinking of.
Dismembered.
Dismembered. There we go, guys. We had a resolution before the episode ended.
And that quicklime had been scattered over the faces and stuffed in the ears.
Oh, they're trying to make sure they're not recognizable.
By the end of the first day, 5 distinct bodies were recovered from the pen. Well, it's also like to keep bugs from in and out and to help decompose it, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but wouldn't you
Those
want
are
bugs
orifices from which stench can come.
so for them, it's the odor.
I think it's odor and decomposition, the both together.
Yeah, you don't want your farm stinking.
Exactly. I mean, you got a hog farm, but even
Yeah.
they can't handle a certain amount of smell.
Oh, but all that lime in the soil, I don't know if that's really bad for it, or is lime good for the soil?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
By the end of the first day, 5 distinct bodies were recovered from the hog pen. Mm-hmm. The next day, 6 more.
Oh.
Quote, after that, the police stopped counting.
After 11?
After 11 bodies.
They can't count higher than 11?
No, they can't. They kept going. They kept looking. They just stopped counting how many they found. Because it
Oh.
was all in pieces.
I guess.
It wasn't a whole body ever. It was just like chunks here and there.
Right.
Eventually,
right.
they figured it out. And we'll get into that.
Okay.
The published storyline of Belle dying in a fire was in a desperate attempt to save her 3 children was, quote, revisited.
Revisited.
But it was too late because Belle was gone.
Yeah, I am very curious how she got. Where did she go? And who were the kids that they found?
The newspapers updated their story. The kids were the kids.
She killed her own fucking kids?
Yes, the 3 children. Yeah, they'd been. I think they'd been like poisoned or something before they died. Like
But I
they
guess
were dead
I'm wondering
before
why
they caught on fire.
She'd been carrying them on this whole time. She didn't let the kids get close to any of the men. She like seemed so involved with the kids. Why kill
Didn't
them?
don't you remember when I said that she became cold towards them?
She did, but then I guess I forgot because she kept taking care of them and bringing them places.
She was a money mad person.
She finally was
she
just-
couldn't. She didn't have anyone else to dump them off onto.
And she probably-
and it was probably a source of a lot of like
Information.
goodwill and money from random people who were like, "Oh yeah, I can send you some money to help with this baby because this kid, you need
well, I'm
help."
thinking the other reason she
Even
might
from the community, some sympathy.
Yeah, I think the other reason that she might be killing her kids, is because maybe they're getting older enough that they might start talking about it. I mean, remember, one kid already spoke.
So
Like maybe she killed him to basically just tie up loose ends?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That would make sense.
Yep.
That's the only reason I'm going to go with and say like, okay, I can understand. But no.
The newspapers updated their stories. Some reports said there were up to 40 bodies on the farm.
Oh, wow. She's a bit prolific.
Notably, one of the bodies found was that of little Jenny Olsen, who'd gone off to college a few years earlier.
Supposedly.
The one who said, "My mama killed my papa."
Yep, there it is. That's again another reason she killed her other kids.
And that had been years earlier. The media and the sheriff's office invited inquiries from local people. If they'd had a gentleman family member go missing over the last few years in the Midwest, maybe reach out to LaPorte.
Yeah, just check.
All in all, and I'm getting my sources are listed. I think we have them listed at like in every episode or whatever. You have those written out in our little blurb.
They will.
But I am quoting directly, like the list that I'm about to read, I'm quoting directly from one of those sources.
Okay.
So, quote, Ole B. Boodsberg of Iola, Wisconsin, vanished in May 1907. Thomas Linbow had left Chicago and gone to work as a hired man for Gunness 3 years earlier. Henry Gerholt of Scandinavia, Wisconsin, had gone to wed her a year earlier, taking $1,500. A watch corresponding to one belonging to Gerholt was found with a body. Olaf Svenherud from Chicago.
I like the attempt. It sounded pretty good.
Svenherud.
We're trying our best.
John Moe of Elbow Lake, Minnesota. His watch was found in Lamphier's possession. In Old Ray Ray.
And watches are so personal, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Olaf Lindblom, age 35, from Wisconsin. Benjamin Carling of Chicago, Illinois, was last seen by his wife in 1907 after telling her that he was going to LaPorte to secure an investment with a wealthy widow.
Oh.
He had with him $1,000 from an insurance company and had borrowed money from several investors. And in June 1908, his widow was able to identify his remains from LaPorte's Paupers Cemetery by the contour of his skull and 3 missing teeth.
Ouch. I don't know if he, I guess if he had money from other investors to go invest with a wealthy widow, then I guess maybe she lured him with a business prospect.
Yes, literally. It was like, if you can get it together, this kind of money, you can be a stakeholder in my farm.
Right.
And then, your return on investment can get you paid and everyone else paid.
Bitch.
All you got to do is come here and I will hook you up.
Wow, she just gave no fucks about how she affected anybody, including her own goddamn children.
The quote continues, the unidentified bodies and unsolved mysteries emerging from these ruins would make headlines across the Midwest. More reports of missing men began to pour in from surrounding Midwestern states, and relatives began to appear from all over the region to claim bodies. They all told of lonesome brothers, uncles, and cousins answering Belle's matrimonial ads and traveling hopefully to LaPorte with their life savings stuffed in their pockets.
Oh, God.
Likely victims include Christy Hilkven of Dover, Wisconsin, who sold his farm and came to LaPorte in 1906. Charles Nyberg, a 28-year-old Scandinavian immigrant living in Philadelphia, told friends that he would visit Gunness in June 1906 and never returned. He had been working for a saloon keeper and he took $500 with him.
Wow.
John H. McJunkin of Coraopolis near McJunkin.
I'm wondering if it's Scandinavian.
McJunkin.
It could be McJunkin. McJunkin.
He's from near Pittsburgh, and he left his wife in December 1906 after corresponding with the LaPorte woman.
Oh,
he's like,
poor woman.
I'll just go over there.
Left you for a serial killer, and he didn't even know it.
Olaf Jensen, a Norwegian immigrant from Carroll, Indiana, wrote his relatives in 1906 that he would marry a wealthy widow at LaPorte. Bert Chase of Mishawaka, Indiana, sold his butcher shop. He told friends of a wealthy widow that he was going to look her up, and his brother received a telegram supposedly from Aberdeen, South Dakota, claiming Bert had been killed in a train wreck. His brother was investigated and found the telegram fictitious. A hired man named George Bradley of Tuscola, Illinois, went to LaPorte to meet the widow in October 1907. T.J. Tiefland of Minneapolis went to see her in 1907. Frank Reidinger, a farmer of Waukesha, Wisconsin, went in 1907. Emil Tell, a Swede from Kansas City, Missouri, in 1907. Lee Porter of Bartonville, Oklahoma, separated from his wife and told his brother he would marry a wealthy widow at LaPorte again.
Ouch. These poor women. And men that don't know, and your whole marriage blew up for something that, oh no.
Johnny Hunter left Duchesne, Pennsylvania on November 25th, 1907.
How do you
after
spell that town?
D-U-Q-E-U.
Duquesne.
Duquesne. Okay, Duquesne,
I applied to a
Pennsylvania.
university there, and I got so confused by that. I had
Thank
to learn.
you.
Yeah.
I just took a
And
shot
I
in the
think
dark.
I heard Waukesha, Wisconsin earlier.
Duquesne, Pennsylvania, after telling his daughters he was going to marry a wealthy widow in northern Indiana.
Oofta. They had reach.
Abraham Phillips, a railway man of Burlington, West Virginia, left in the winter of 1907 to go to northern Indiana and marry the wealthy widow. A railway watch was
Never
found.
marry a wealthy widow, guys. Never marry a wealthy widow.
In that case, a railway watch was found in the debris of the house. So they think it was his. And then there were the forever unnamed victims.
Oh.
A daughter of Mrs. Whitzer of Toledo, Ohio, who had attended Valparaiso University near LaPorte in 1902. An unknown man and woman are alleged to have disappeared in September 1906, the same night Jenny Olson went missing. Gunnis claimed they were a Los Angeles professor and his wife who had taken Jenny to California.
Oh.
A brother of Miss Jenny Graham of Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Waukesha.
Waukesha, sorry. Waukesha.
No, you're good. They have fun names up there. Like
who-
Okoboji.
Yeah, can't do that. So Miss Jenny Graham of Waukesha, Wisconsin, who had left her to marry a wealthy widow in LaPorte, but vanished. A hired man from Ohio named age 50, name unknown, is alleged to have disappeared, and Gunnis became heir to his horse and buggy. An unnamed man from Montana told people at a resort he was going to sell Gunnis his horse and buggy, which were found with several other horses and buggies at the farm.
Oh. Oh.
The belief at this point is that Belle, that's the end of the list.
Oh.
And that was all quoted from
Such
one of our
a long
sources.
list, this woman. My
Yes.
God.
The belief at this point is that Belle had about 40
Jeez.
victims just on the farm.
Just on the farm.
Ray wasn't so lucky to escape punishment. He knew about these murders, and he not only kept the secret, he helped her dispose of the
Yeah,
bodies in a lot of the cases.
Yes, he absolutely did.
So he was sentenced to 2 to 20 years. But he died in 1909 of tuberculosis.
I don't know if that's good or
Way it
bad.
goes,
I'm
I
like,
guess.
I kind of wanted him to serve that time.
Yep, way it happens. Shortly before he died, he made one last confession.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We know this shit because it was a deathbed. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
A few weeks after his death, the confessee came forward with the sordid last words of Ray. This is also quoted. The powerful 48-year-old woman would carry the body to the basement where she most often dissected it, bundled the remains, and then buried them in the hog pen. She dumped the corpse into hog scalding vat at other times and then covered the remains with quicklime. And worse, according to Lamphere, if she was overly tired, she'd chop up the remains and feed them to the hogs.
If she was overly tired, she'd just chop up the remains because that doesn't take work.
I think you can also like grind the meat or whatever. There was probably like a way that she could just run it through a machine and chop it up more easily. Lamphere also cleared up the mysterious question of the headless female corpse found in the smoking ruins of that Gunnis home. Mm-hmm. Belle had lured this woman from Chicago on the pretense of hiring her as a housekeeper, only days before she decided to make her permanent escape from LaPorte. Gunnis, according to Lamphere, had drugged the woman, then bashed in her head. Once dead, she decapitated the body, tied weights to the head, and disposed of it in a swamp. She then dragged the corpse to the basement, dressed it in her own clothing, removed her false teeth, and placed them inside the headless corpse to ensure it would be identified as Belle Gunnis.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
That bridge.
Yeah.
She also chloroformed her children, smothered them to death, and carried them to the
Jesus.
basement.
How can she do that to
She
her?
then-
I mean, to anybody in general, but to your own children.
She then torched the small brick farmhouse and fled. End quote.
Yeah, so that tells you she definitely burned down the other shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a bitch! Do we know whatever happened to her?
Well, the plan was to meet her down the road and run away together, but she cut through a different path and was gone. Not only that, but Ray told the man that Belle had taken over $250,000 from 42 men, which would be around $7 million today.
Oh my God.
The bankers who checked her accounts never saw huge amounts at one given time, but they did know she had a ton of deposits and withdrawals of anywhere between 1,000 to 32,000 at a time. And she had emptied all of her accounts like right before the fire.
Right. So extremely suspicious activity.
Over the years, Belle was spotted in numerous towns throughout the Midwest. As late as 1931, she was rumored to be a landowner and quite a prominent citizen in Mississippi. She was also rumored to have been arrested in L.A. under the name Esther Carlson for poisoning a man for his money. The remains buried next to Mads Sorensen were never identified. In 2007, there was an attempt to use a DNA sample, but there wasn't anything of use left in the grave, and so both her identity and Belle's final whereabouts will forever remain unknown.
How do we not know? Like, I feel like I should have heard of her before this.
I'm
With
really
how prolific, I mean, most serial killers in America don't get up to 40.
I'm surprised you haven't heard episodes about her already, because she's been in she's been the subject of quite a few true crime podcasts for sure.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm subscribed to a number of true crime podcasts.
But there's also a difference between like listening to them and then participating in a conversation about them.
True. But I also I get so obsessed with one or two podcasts at a time, so I probably missed a few episodes about her, or it's been a while, but I just feel like she should be a household name with serial killers like Ted Bundy.
I know.
And like John Wayne Gacy, who I don't know if they've ever gotten up to that number. Not that it's always about a numbers thing, but I mean, she's just such a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Luring in flies.
Yeah, and we see that play out in an age where you really can't verify any other thing, and she can just be a fairly convincing, charming woman and get away with whatever the fuck she wants.
I was going to say, she kind of pulled a straight up D.B. Cooper style disappearance.
She definitely did.
Very much so.
Before planes were invented, it was house fires that allowed you to get away.
And I'm not admiring her in any way, shape, or form, but she's definitely, unfortunately, intelligent.
Oh, for sure.
And I hate it because she did so much damage to so many families, so many people.
Yeah.
And these poor, poor men. I feel so... My heart hurts for them.
But I'm also like, guys, come on.
I know.
Just
again,
go to a bar, meet a woman in a bar. Like,
how many
go to
red
church.
flags?
Go do something. Like, literally just talk to a woman on the street.
But they had no idea.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The idea, but that's crazy. Like, the idea of literally traveling from wherever you live.
States and states away.
Instead of talking to women that live in your own town that you can start a life with, you are answering a mail ad to someone states and states away who is already telling you that they want you to monetarily, financially invest in them and be ready to basically give them your...
The rules were different.
Hey,
the
she
rules...
was a findom.
Oh, financial dominatrix.
Yeah.
I mean... Financial dominatrix, but
that
then
she
a
was
murderer.
a murderous financial dominatrix.
I was gonna say, yeah, because she did
in
say,
droves.
"You will give me money."
Yeah, literally, she was upfront about it, and they came and came.
They did say they would pay off her mortgage.
Financial dominatrix, murderess.
Yes, murdering person. She's a murderer who happened to also be, I guess.
Well, her victim pool were all people that she was taking advantage of financially.
Targeted wealthy men. She told them to pay her. Mm-hmm. They accepted to pay her, although they did think they were paying for a mortgage.
Or they had life insurance policies.
Or they're an investment. Or, they had a life insurance policy that maybe they did not agree to give her.
Or they did agree to give her and just, it didn't,
conveniently on the day that two policies were there, he had a fatal accident.
Exactly.
That was very
You're never supposed to need the life insurance policy, but when two are active in one day, you watch your back.
Yeah.
Because someone's coming after you.
My only beneficiaries to a life insurance policy, my parents. And after that, my children.
Yeah.
We will never be a partner.
Yeah.
I don't think... and even then, if it goes to my children and my partner is their legal guardian...
I think society is going to be devolved by then.
Yeah.
It's super depressing. This is
That's why I'm not getting married.
Consistent conversation in our household of like, I want to be a mom. I want a family. I think that would like that's one of my, greatest wants, but I also am not stupid enough to think that having a kid in this country, in this day and age right now,
it's just not the time.
Is just in any way smart. Plus, I'm not nearly wealthy enough to be able to afford it. I would want to give a kid a good life, and I wouldn't be able to. That would be super selfish of me.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if I want kids in my future. I'm not really quite decided on that. But for now, I know the answer is in the short term, no.
Well, Belle didn't want kids, but she got him, and then she burned him to death. Or, well, she chloroformed him to death and then burned him up.
I have a new ring. God. Oh, my God. Well, guys, this really has been a fucking podcast. My God.
Yeah, that's Belle Gunnis, man.
Yeah, Belle Gunnis, Bella Peterson,
Brunhild, Paul's daughter, Storsith.
We don't know Norwegian dialects or phonemes. We're trying.
I actually tried to be pretty on the
You know what you can do though is
pronunciation.
probably just like as text to speech. You could just highlight some of the words.
Yeah, but then it's like Google or Siri reading it out for you, and that's not going to be accurate.
Google Translate has the ability sometimes to get a native language speaker to do it.
I've checked a few different times, and it depends on the language.
I see.
It really depends.
I know, it's probably not
sometimes
perfect.
like the thing that they're going to read out, or like if you go onto YouTube and it has like a computerized voice, it's not going to be the same thing. It'll be like a whatever the American pronunciation
It'll
is.
be like a weirder version of like how the TikTok AI voices sound.
Right. So I tried to be as accurate as I could with the way that I pronounce the names.
Yeah. Well, I think you did a great job for
a fucking murderer
for an American
person,
a single language speaker. No, you speak multiple languages. Never mind.
Minimally.
I've been practicing my Spanish with some Spanish speakers at work.
There's some ladies at work that know that I can speak a little bit of it, and so they help me practice. And
yeah,
they're
I
really
appreciate
nice. They're super patient with me.
Yeah, they were very sweet. I was just like, mi español es poquito. Mi tengo, or what's I need?
Necesito
practicar mi español. And that's like, I can't roll my R's. You've heard me. I'm a pigeon. So I have to really, I'm never going to sound great, but if I can just like communicate, I'll be pretty fucking proud.
Love it.
Thanks.
Anyway, this has been a show. We are going to be back next week with an episode of The Crowning. That is our other little project that Hannah has been spearheading and organizing for me. It's been great.
I'm learning as I go.
Well, we're also learning how to like have the conversation of the episode while in the context of it. I've never done a show like this.
Yeah.
Or of a show like that. So there's a whole pattern that I don't understand.
Show at all. So I am learning as I go. But I think it's really, really a lot of fun just for us to sit and watch and talk. Mm-hmm. And Matt Smith. That's all I got to say.
We haven't seen Matt Smith ass in quite some time.
We're probably not going to. I think the beginning.
I think he gets more proper from here on out.
Because like now that he's like full on crowned, and I don't know, you might get to see because they have that second round of children, and we haven't gotten to the birth of Andrew and Edward yet, have we?
No.
Then yeah, we got a little. Maybe we'll get a little more.
Maybe we get some Matt Smith ass when they decide to get again.
A little. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's been an episode.
It's been a fucking episode.
It's been a fucking episode.
All right, bye.
Bye.